Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the spring card class. Hello, everyone. Let's see here. Let me turn on my comments here. Hello, Jasmine, Cynthia, Denise. Hello, Cynthia, Darla, Chris. Let's see here. Natalie, Rayanne. Hello, hello. And I know we have a lot of new joiners. Welcome, welcome, everyone. We're glad that you made it. You can always go back and watch the replay later on. It will be available here on the Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel. There's also, I know Lisa told you about the links there, the sale for that, the little class collection will be going on for a couple of more days. So if you want to pick up anything, even glue, blending brushes, anything like that, I always tell all of our friends that join us for these classes that now's the time to pick up some of those staples that we always use in our craft room. Whether you want the dies and the stamps and stuff, you know, that's your own decision, but it's a great time to pick up like liquid adhesive. And if you want to try Nina cardstock and things like that. So I always throw that out there for all of our friends. Let's say, thank you, Mary. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do here, and because we advertise this class, you know, through our newsletter, through our Buzzworthy group, through the live streams, it was kind of put out everywhere. I'm going to do the prep with you today. So if you didn't have time to prep anything, we're going to take, 20 minutes or so. It's not going to take us a long time. We're going to do the prep together because I don't have anything prepped either. I've just got my paper and my dies here all ready to go. And then once we get everything prepped and kind of sorted out, then we're going to start. I know Lisa is in the chat and I have my daughter Emily on the other side of my screen here. And so she's going to help me. So you may hear her talk every once in a while because a lot of times when I look down and I'm crafting, I don't see all the comments. And so between Lisa and Emily here, we're going to get you help if you have questions and everything like that. Everybody's saying, hey, Emily. She's saying like this. She's 20. She is, and I'm showing my nerdiness, but like she's too cool to be helping mom out right now. But it's fine. It's fine. I had to beg her, and she could be. Oh, see, there's Emily Cahoot right there in the chat. It was either wash the dogs or help mom, and so she's helping mom. So there we go. All right. So I'm gonna go now down to my desk view so we can all start prepping together. And so let's go down here. Okay, this is the card that I'm going to be creating today. I know a lot of you are just going to work on your ink blending and do work with other like lovely layers and things like that. That is awesome. If you have questions about when you're ink blending or doing this, that, and the other thing, make sure that you just put them there in the chat. And if you have a specific question, you may even write question right before your question, and then that helps Lisa and Emily spot it over in the chat. Okay. All right. So I'm going to set my card aside here, and I have 3 sheets of cardstock that I'm going to start working with. So I've got the minty green color. I don't even know if that, yeah, that's the same color. The minty green color that's going to be for our little mailbox. And then I have 2 sheets of white cardstock. So I am going to start with my white cardstock first. One of these is going to be for my card base. If you want to have a card base, so let's talk about that for 2 seconds first. So you can do this card if you're using the mailbox dies, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can have your mailbox be the card shape itself, and you can just leave it just the mailbox. Or you can add it to a 5x7 card like I've done here and have it just be the large element on the front of your card. So, and you can always do the mailbox and then add it later on, but it just gives you a couple of different options. Okay. So I'm going to put the card together today just like this, but I'll stop when I get just the mailbox done and show you, what it will look like if you just do the mailbox by itself. Okay. So let's get started here. So I'm going to cut my white cardstock first for my card base. And if Kelley can find her paper trimmer today. Here we go. And so the card is going to be 5 by 7. So I know I need to cut my cardstock down this direction to 10. So I'm going to line it up with the 10 right over here, and I'm going to trim off. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I keep these little strips because they're good to stamp our sentiments and things on. So you may want to set that aside and use that later.
We have a question from Miss Sonia.
Yep.
She is asking, what is better, a top fold or a side fold card?
It's completely up to you, whatever you do. Usually if I'm doing a big 5 by 7 card, I do it in a side fold like I'm doing today. If I do an A2 size card, I do it in a top fold. And it's just personal preference, really. Okay, I'm going to line my other side. I flipped my cardstock. I'm going to line it up at the 7 and then give that a slice. And now I've got more extra for my sentiments. And then this is what I am left with there. And so if you want to, you can go ahead and take, whatever you like to score your cards with. I'm going to take my big Honeybee Stamps bone folder, and I know that this card is going to be 5 by 7, so I'm going to run my bone folder over to the 5, and then I'm going to run it all the way down. And then I'm going to fold it over like this. And then when I'm folding my cards, I like to butt them up in the corners right over here and use this ledge. Because when you fold your cards sometimes and they still end up a little bit wonky, if you kind of butt everything up and then really smush the edge down, it seems to help with the card wonkiness. Okay, so now we've got our card base all ready to go. And so I can set this aside now. And if you hear that downstairs, I have a little birdie downstairs and she's telling us about something. There's no telling what, but she's going to tell us all about it. Okay, now this large sheet of cardstock, our extra sheet of cardstock, this is what I'm going to use for all of my flower die cuts, plus the little pieces of the mailbox. And I'm going to brighten this up, it up a little bit because it was looking a little dark. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you need to cut down your cardstock, so let's say that you have, and we can go, let me go like this so we can chat for just a second. If you need to cut down your cardstock because maybe you've got a smaller die machine to run through, you can slice this in half. You can slice it into quarters, whatever you need to do to run yours through. I've got a big Gemini back over here because I do a lot of die cutting for Honeybee. So if you need to cut that down, go ahead and use your paper trimmer to do that. And I'm going to start laying out my little flowers. So these are the whimsical flowers, and I'm going to use most of these dies, but not all. So I for sure am going to use these big flowers. And
what cardstock weight are you using for your die cuts?
This is 110 pound. So we'll chat as we go along here. So I started out, when I started card making, I started buying the Nina 80 pound and the 110 pound and having two, and then using, the 110 pound for some things and the 80 pound for some things. I don't buy two reams anymore of that. I just buy the 110 pound and use it for everything. But it's kind of a personal preference, what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to use all the big flowers. Let's see here. And I want these that look like little whimsical little tulips. And this little guy. So a lot of them that I am not going to use today are like these that are designed to be the centers of the flowers, because I'm actually going to pop the little adhesive pearls in there as the centers. But if you want to cut those and use them, then by all means. Okay. So I'm going to put my leaves down here, and let me show you kind of like what I like to do, because we're going to cut all the flowers one time, but we want a lot of leaves. So we're going to cut the leaves twice. So I'm kind of dividing my paper here, so to speak, and putting the flowers all up on one end and then all the little leaves down below. And I'll kind of show you why, the method to my madness, so to speak. So those of you that haven't been part of one of our little honeybee classes before, this is very informal. This is a lot like I do our live streams on Mondays and Wednesday nights. And I know I recognize a lot of our friends here from our live streams. So they're pretty used to me being pretty, I'm not real formal. And so I just like to have fun and chat with you guys. So I hope that's okay today. But if you have questions, make sure you just, add those there to the chat. Okay, so I like to line my dies up pretty close, not so close that if they shift, they're going to overlap together, but pretty close. And then I take my, whatever tape you're going to hold your dies down with, whether it's a washi tape or the purple tape. I'm going to use this highlighter tape, and I run a big piece and I go like this. And this is going to allow me to do all these die cuts like all at one time. So if you've got a smaller machine that you need to run, some smaller pieces of paper, we could do that too. And I'm going to go not super fast, not super slow. I'm hoping to go just the right pace for anybody that's kind of crafting along with us today. Okay, so I've got everything taped down, ready to go. And I'm going to go ahead and start running through my die machine. Let's see here. This is where I use press and seal. That's smart. I've never used press and seal to cut, but definitely like to arrange. Okay, this is my very beat up magnet. Here we go. Come on now. So y'all are getting to see my real life craft room here today. My beat up magnet, and we're going to press that over, and we're going to put that there, and then here we go. And I'm going to start running it through. And then while we're doing this, thank you. I love my little shirt. And we're going to send that little guy through there. Let's see here. Okay, I love press and seal to hold all your die cuts. Yes. The tiny dot, does it leave tiny dots on your cardstock? That's a good question. Okay, so I've got my little dish here. Some of you may have like a little something that you add your little die cuts in. I always put all my flowers like in one little compartment, and then all my little leaves, everything that I want to be, greens or something like that, I put somewhere else. Let me set that over here. And then I'm just going to start kind of popping these out and organizing. So that can come off. That is there. Let me do a little flip here. I'm going to pop those out. And then let's lift this. That one's going to come out. And then let's make sure we got everything. And then I can lift this whole strip of leaves off, and I'm going to lay it aside because I know I want to cut it again. Make sure we got everybody arranged where they're supposed to go. There's a little leaf that needs to go in there. Now, all my flowers are done, but I can set my little leaves back out, my little string of leaves, and kind of paste it or stick it back down. And I'm going to pick them up this way or not. Come on. There we go. And then I'm going to send this back through my die machine. Let's see how you're all doing. Me too. I gave up and bought the Empress. I've heard lots of good things about the Empress. silicone cupcake holders. I've heard lots of good things about the Empress. Did you get the big one or did you get the mini Empress? And I have to tell you too, those of you that have bought the Empress, I know for a fact that Anna Griffin has really good customer service too with their products because I've chatted with them. Let's see, I recently bought the Empress. Also, I have both sizes. Oh, you're fancy. Yes, I got the big one. I have the big plates and also bought the smaller plates. Yep, I have both. Absolutely love them. I do too. I have the Gemini, but I love it because I can run these full sheets in all together and it saves so much time. Let's see, I love Anna Griffin. I have the mini or the large one. I still use my hand crank Big Kick. It's about $14.50. It still works great. That's awesome. Okay, so we've got all of our flowers cut. So now we can set up and cut our mailbox. And don't forget, part of our mailbox, guys, we're going to cut in white. And I'll kind of explain which pieces I did and why I did it that way. All right, so you can see mine still has the tape on it. Let's move things out of the way here. Let's get it here like that. Okay, so this is the little post door. You can see I've still got my tape attached. So I'm going to flip it and tape it down. Now use whatever color scheme that you're going. If you want a pink mailbox, then use pink paper. If you want green, use green, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these two pieces that I have are the little flap that goes at the top. We can set that down. And then we need the back base. So this is the backer part. Let me get that going. And I may have to rearrange. We're gonna get the lay of the land here. Nope. Looking good. And then the front part, let me go ahead and show that. Front part that has all the little embossed flowers and things in it. We're going to get that laid down here. Okay, so what we have left over is the little extra pieces, like the little keyhole and the little pretty piece that's going to go right up here when we flip this over. These two pieces, and this may be a good spot for you to grab like a piece of your scrap paper that we just trimmed off of our card base. You can use that. And these are going to be in white. And the reason why I did these in white was because we're going to ink blend them like we do our flowers, because it's going to make them really pop off the mailbox. And then they're actually like, it's going to blend with the whole color scheme. So that's something that I like to do sometimes, whether it's like little elements like this, or even the sentiment later on, we may stamp in one of our inks, but I like to do that sometimes. So if you just want to start running all your pretty mailbox pieces, and this one definitely I'm going to pick up just like this and then flip it so I don't lose any of my pretty mailbox pieces. What's the pink tape that I'm using? It is called highlighter tape. I'll lay it right here. It comes in all different colors, and it was designed to, it's a low tack tape that was designed that you can actually put in like textbooks and things to like highlight but not use a pen. So you can see here where you would be able to read whatever the text is under that. That's why it's called highlighter tape. It's because you can actually use it like a highlighter pen. But it's somebody, and I don't know who it was that figured it out, but it's really great for die cutting because it's low tack, and it comes on this handy dandy little roll. let's see here. Let's make sure we get all of our little parts and pieces on here. But it comes in like blue and a green, pink, I believe, maybe a purple. Okay. And then I've got this little bit here left over. I'm going to trim this out later on because I'm a paper hoarder, and I'm going to keep that in my little stash. Okay. So the last cut that I need to do is my little keyhole and my little decorative topper there. Now you'll notice that in your mailbox die set, there are these two little hinge pieces, right? For this card, because we're going to pile and have all those beautiful florals coming out of the top, you don't necessarily need these pieces. If you want to cut that, I'll show you where to add those later on, but we don't necessarily need that for our card today. All right. Let's see here. Me too. You're not alone. Paper hoarder. Total paper hoarder. If you guys saw my scrap pile down here, it is out of control because I always pull my scrap pile right within reach, especially when we're preparing for a release, because I'm doing like tons and tons and tons of die cutting. And so I try to be a good crafter and use up my scraps. I'm not always that good at remembering, but I do try. Okay. And then we've got our little keyhole here in white. So I'm going to pop it into my little container so I don't lose it. And then I can kind of put these little guys. And then that little decorative piece as well, I'm going to pop over there. And then that is all for now. We'll die cut our sentiment later on, but we'll get to that in a little bit. There we go. All right. How is everybody doing? Let's see, to avoid following the rotate, Jennifer might keep the top plate totally clean. Yeah, Cynthia. I'm a rule breaker. I'm a total rule breaker. Let's see, my scrap pile is entire box. Same. Yes. Use it for everything, reuse it until the sticky is gone. Yes, I reuse a lot of my pieces like this. I stick it on the side of my desk, and even these big long ones that I haven't even taken the dies off yet, I'll sit and pull while you guys are finishing die cutting. I'll show you this, but I'm weird like this too. I will say that one tore. I'm going to stick it over, and I save all these pieces. And then if I just need a small piece later on for a small die, or like when we do our sentiment later, I'll just take it and kind of tear it like that. But I save all these little pieces until either they get yucky or they've run out of stick. There we go. Save the tape. Okay. Hello, Beth and mom and cousin. Hello, hello. I'm a total rule breaker. Okay, keeping up just fine. Perfect, Robin. That's exactly what I need to know. Okay, so let's prepare to do some ink blending here. And my mat is super messy. I'm going to go back down here to my desk view. Just like that. And then I'm going to start arranging my flowers, and I'm going to kind of think about it in like what colors that I want to do. So you can kind of think about it like that. But I know I'm going to make these big ones kind of an orange with a little bit of pinky pink on the edges. So I'm going to pull those out and kind of put those nearby one another. And then the other, you can kind of go to town here and, figure out what you want where. Move that out of the way. And we'll kind of talk about it as we go through. Now, these two that are the little kind of tulip shaped, I know I'm going to want those purple later on. And see, this little guy is purple, so I'm going to put him up there. And then let's find the others. This one is purple. let's see here. Let me think about this. Pink, and we can do some pinks, purples. Okay, make sure we got them all. All right, and then let all my leaves, let me do a little inventory here. Make sure we got everything. Okay. All right, we're doing good. All right, so I'm going to start grabbing my inks, and I'm going to start with these two flowers here, and I'm going to come in, and until I put a little bit of ink on these, you can kind of see it now, but you can see all the embossing pressed in that, and then it'll pop out a little bit more here in a second as we start inking. Okay, so for these two little flowers, I am going to use Saltwater Taffy and Spiced Marmalade. Actually, go ahead, Emily.
The clear sticky mat you're using?
This is a waffle flower grip mat. Grip with a P, G-R-I-P mat. They come in all different sizes, and they help to hold your little die cuts down while you're inking, or if you're stenciling and things like that. They're pretty handy. Okay, so I'm going to start with my Spiced Marmalade. So I'm going to get it out here, and I've just got one of our little blending brushes. And I always like to start with my dirty brush first, because believe it or not, the bristles in our little brushes, they trap a whole lot of extra ink in there. And so I'm going to start on these big flowers in the center, and I'm going to kind of tip my brush. Let's say that this is the paper right here. I'm going to kind of tip my brush up on its end like this. And I'm going to use kind of just the tip and start right there in the center of these big flowers. And then I can kind of start radiating out to the tips of the petals just a little bit. But most of the color, you'll notice, is going to be saturated right there in the center. And that's kind of what I want. I can do the same thing on this one. So I'm going to tip that brush down and just start running it around and around right there in the center. And then you can kind of peek in there and see how dark it's getting with that spiced marmalade. And when you're happy with how that looks right there in the center, that's when you can start kind of lightening up your grip a little bit, working it out to the edges of the petals, and kind of spreading that color out to the outside of the flower. But you'll see where we've got a lot of that concentration right in here and right in here, and then it's really light out in here. All right. Okay, let's look. Now, some of these little flowers, like this little guy, and let's do this little guy. So I'm going to move these two out of the way. We're going to make them all this color, okay? These two, we're going to add some pink on the tips of those, but I'll wait until we pull our pink out in just a second. But these two, and you can choose whichever ones you want, I am going to do an all over. So I'm going to make them all that kind of yellowy orange. And again, I'm kind of tipping it up in the center and then dragging it out on the edges. So you can see where we've got more of an orangey center, and then it almost fades out into a yellow on the tips. I like to do this to get more bang for my buck out of my ink colors, because you can kind of, depending on the pressure you add on your bristles and in your brushes, you can kind of get different colors out of the same ink. And so it helps all of us in the long run to kind of, you know, get more bang for our buck here. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to tip those bristles up on their end, work it into the center, and then really work it out a little bit lighter on the tip. So I'm going heavier handed and pressing harder on the bristles in the center. and then really light on the tip. And that's how you get it to look the orange and then fade out to the yellow. Let's see, will Dewdrop Memento inks work the same? I'm not sure. You could try them. I haven't used those in a little bit, but you could absolutely try them and see if that will work. I remember those little teardrops. I used to have a million of those things. Okay, so these two little guys, they are finished. So they're finished. So I'm going to take them up and I'm going to put them back in my little container. And then let's finish these two and these two. Okay. So this is where we're going to bring in the Saltwater Taffy ink, which is my very favorite kind of pinky color. It's like not coral, not just bright pink. It's like, I love it. It's like the perfect of both. It's the best of both worlds. Okay, Oxide blends. So the oxides do blend so easy. Misty, you are not late at all, my friend. You just join in anytime. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because we've already done the center of these big flowers, I'm going to start off of the petals this time and start blending on and blending it in with that yellowy color. And again, I'm checking to see if I like how much ink is trapped in my bristles. If you like your florals and you like your stenciled backgrounds to be that kind of light, airy, what's the word that I'm looking for? Animals, what am I looking for here? What word am I looking for? Easily blendable. If you like that look, I highly recommend practicing with your dirty brushes, and it gives you a lot more control over the ink that is depositing onto the paper, if that makes sense. And then if we want to add more ink, you can always go in to your ink pad and then add more, but we can't ever take it off. So, you can kind of dip in, give the edges just a little bit of a darker color. And then it gives you that, really light and airy kind of look to it. Now, if you're wanting your color when you ink blend or when you stencil to be very saturated, very deep, very rich, that's when you really work those bristles of your ink, your brushes into your ink pad. And then that's when I would take it directly onto whatever project I'm working on. Okay. So I'm first going to start with my dirty brush. I'm not going to dip, and I'm going to work around, and this flower's bigger, so I may need to let's do a dip, dip, dip. And I'm going to start off the side, bring it on.
Do you have a specific set of brushes for oxides?
I do have a specific set of brushes for oxides. And here's my disclaimer with that. When I started using oxides, when Tim first started putting them out, and I tried them, I thought, oh my goodness, like I love the way that they blend. They literally go on like butter. And I kind of quit using my regular Distress inks when I started really getting into the oxides, just because they're so easy. Now, I haven't gotten rid of my regular Distress inks because they're really good for different techniques. So it depends on what I'm doing. But yes, I do have a separate set of brushes for my oxides. So I hope that answered your question. That was like a roundabout way to answer that, but okay. So here we've got the pinky little edges, and I'm going to go, let me collect both of these. I'm going to go to this camera and I'm going to hold them up. Where is it? Let me see if I can show you. They're a lot more saturated in real life than they show on my desk because I've got my bright like filming lights on them. But they're a lot more, if I can tilt it just right. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe not. I may not be able to find it. But they're a lot more saturated in color and you're getting a lot more of that pinky edge like in real life than it looks on this camera. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and set those aside. Now, these two little guys right here, let me go back over here. This is where we're going to take this pink ink. And this is where if you wanted to really get it saturated and make them super pink, this is where we can do that. Okay. If you want to do the little center and then drag it out really easily and make the tips almost white or a very, very pale pink, you can do that. I'm just going to give them a good, like all over coat of that saltwater taffy. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Okay, I'm going to put those over. How's everybody doing? Distress oxides are my go-to for ink blending. They are mine too, Barbara. Question, how do you clean the grip mat? I have a like microfiber and I just, oh, it's going to squeak. Okay, it's going to squeak a little bit. I wipe it down like that. And then if you need to give it like a heavy duty clean, you can use a photopolymer stamp cleaner on it. For example, like the Hero Arts photopolymer stamp cleaner or something like that. There we go. All right, so I have a couple little flowers left, and then I've got like the little tulipy looking ones. Now, this little big guy here, well, I can kind of do both of them that way. We can have fun blending, and I'm going to do both of them. So this big guy, I'm going to start with Dusty Concord. And again, I'm a dirty brush girl, but this is what the Dusty Concord looks like in the container or on the container. I'm going to start off of this little tulip thing way down here because I want the saturation of this dark color to be right down here at the base. And then I'm going to go in with a lighter purple on the top. So I'm going to start way off of the die cut way down here and then start working my way on just like that. And then I'm going to pick my brush up and kind of look to see what I have, see where we're going here. And then if I want more, I can always go back and kind of add a little bit more like that. Water keeps it sticky. Yes. Hi, Kelly. Hey, Donna. How are you? I'm glad that you found us here. Okay, same thing with this little tulip one. So I'm going to start off onto the little grip mat here, and I'm going to start working that pigment out because, or up, because you can see where it's going to deposit it all along the bottom right there, because that's where the bristles first hit, and then it kind of fades it as it goes up. So I'm going to hit this edge. And then I'm going to pick my brush up and kind of look at it. And I'm not happy with that one yet. So I'm going to keep working on him. And I can kind of look at it. And I want to add a little bit more pigment right over there. So you can see I'm almost kind of scraping those bristles onto the edge. There we go. All right, now for the lighter color, there's a couple of different ways that we can do this. We can use milled lavender. Let me move it over here where we can see, which is very pale, beautiful purple. And we can come in from the top, and I'll show you both ways. We'll just do that. I'll show you both ways. So for this little guy, I'm going to use the milled lavender, and I will probably need to dip in because it's so pale. I'm going to start off of the die cut and just start blending it down into where I stopped that Dusty Concord. And so we're going to get a blend like that. Or I can use my same brush. And this is where I was talking about earlier, like more bang for your buck. I can start down here off of the edge like I was, and I'm going to get lighter on my grip or in how hard I'm pressing on the bristles of the brush as I travel up the flower. And I'm getting really light up here at the tippy top of those petals. And if I pick my brush up, look what we almost have. Okay, so that's what I was talking about, how like maybe if you're just starting out buying the Distress Oxide inks, maybe you get like one of each color family, because you're able to do a lot with one color if you practice on your blending. So this one is 2 colors, 2 inks. This one is milled lavender and Dusty Concord on the bottom. This one is just Dusty Concord, and it is what word am I looking for here? It is the pressure that I'm adding to the bristles is how hard and how much ink it's going to deposit. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Let me click over here so we can chat. Does that make sense to everybody? That I'm yeah, so that's why, like when I use for example, my very, very favorite green Distress Oxide ink is Rustic Wilderness. And that's because it's a very rich, deep pigment, but I can fade it out to almost that citron color just by barely kissing the bristles of the brush to my paper. And that allows me to get way more out of that one ink pad. If I use it that way, it's like you're getting several colors out of it. I hope that two-tone, yes, makes perfect sense. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, those tiny brushes are going to be great for those little guys. Totally. They totally are. Okay, so I'm going to quit chit-chatting and like talking your ear off. Okay, these 2 little guys, I'm going to do in the all dusty, is it? Yeah, Dusty Concord. So I'm just going to go to town here like this, because I'm actually going to use these 2 as some little centers to the flowers. And so they're going to be like on contrasting colors, if that makes sense.
Lita said that she's having trouble getting her die cuts to stick to the grip mat. Is there a trick that she should try?
Oh, Lita. Lita's having trouble getting hers to stick to the grip mat. I don't know of any trick. And here's... Those of you who know me, I use and abuse hard all my products. You know, sometimes my die cuts stick down here, and sometimes, especially if I'm ink blending like this, they'll kind of move. I'll have to chase them around a little bit. Just clean it really good. And you can see mine is pretty sticky right now. I'm really having to work to pop my hand off of the top. Lita, if you will email me, I will help you. I'll help you out with that. There's some little tricks and things that we can try, but mine's got like glitter all over it, and it's dusty and crusty. I'm very, very hard on my craft supplies. Okay, but I'll be able to help you out with that for sure. Okay, next we're going to do some leaves, and shocker, I am not using Rustic Wilderness today, but I'm using Evergreen Bough and Cracked Pistachio. I had to step outside my box a little bit, and I'm going to pull out all of the leaves that we cut, and I'm going to lay like some of these big ones. Where's his little twin? Up in here, and like that one. And let's do that one. And let's do some of these others. Make sure I get them right side up. And like this little guy, let's put him down here. Let's put that one. I feel like I'm missing a leaf. That's okay. This one's twin. That one's twin. And this and this. Okay. And there's really no rhyme or reason to my little groupings I have here. This is what I'll tell you. And this guy's upside down. Let me switch him. This little grouping up here is going to be done in Evergreen Bough, and this grouping is going to be Cracked Pistachio. I know that this is it's going to end up in a lighter color, so I'm doing a few more of those than I am this grouping, if that makes sense. But you can arrange, whatever you want to do. But let's do Evergreen Bough. So it is more of like a kind of a teal, kind of jewel tone, turquoisey green. So here's my good old dirty brush. Thank you for the tips. Washing the grip mat. I will try that. Oh, yes. Thank you, Scott. Oh, the petals is these little guys. Yeah. I don't know if it's the elementary school teacher in me. I don't know. Everything's a little guy or a little fella or something. Okay. I'm going to start with my dirty brush again. Okay. And I kind of arrange these to where I think that like this looks like it would be connected to the stem. Let's say this end is connected to the stem and that end and that end. And of course we've got stems here. I always start and kind of think about I want the darker portion that would be connected to the stem or to the base of the flower, like we did those purple flowers earlier. You kind of want to think about that. Think about where to drop most of your ink, because wherever you start, that's going to be your darkest point, if that makes sense. I was an elementary school teacher. I was an elementary school teacher, and then when I had Emily, I stayed home with her, and I homeschooled her until she graduated, and now she's in college. And let me tell you, talk about being a scared mama. Even though I was an elementary school teacher, when this girl started college, and I'm like, oh my word, I hope I did not ruin this child when she went to school. But she's doing really good. Aren't you, Emils? Mm-hmm. She is. She said, she's doing so good. I'm so proud of her. Okay. So I'm going to just keep working here. Deep, deep, deep down in here. You can add a little more pressure down towards your stem or the base, and then lift up on the bristles of your brush and up on your brush as you go up towards the tippy top. And you're going to get all that pigment right down here, and then it fades out. So again, we're going to get more bang for our buck on our color there. What is your daughter going to college for? She's getting a degree in biology, and she is going into more, how do I say that, ecological biology with she loves to go out. We live in South Carolina, so she goes out to the coast, like on the waterways and things, in the like the estuaries and things like that, and they do all kinds of like experiments and check like the different types of algae in the water and things like, and the little microorganisms, because all the bigger fish and things eat on that, or it could harm different creatures and things like that. So she's actually living my dream, because before I went into teaching, I actually wanted to become a marine biologist. But I lived in Oklahoma. There was no marine life in Oklahoma. And so I became a science teacher instead. But let's see. Can you just wash the sticky mat with water, or do you need to use soap? Any idea on how long it will take? Karen. Okay. So this is what I'll tell you. I just had a combo with the owner of Waffle Flower just within the last couple of days, and they're actually recommending now that you don't use soap on it. That's why they're recommending just using like a stamp cleaner or water. I think they used to say you could use soap, but I think that they've like switched gears with that. And if you have more questions about that, if you want to email me, Lisa will put the customer care email in the chat there, and I can help you out. But I think that this is a new development for Waffle Flower that they're saying that. So don't freak out if you've used soap on yours. You name something that I'm not supposed to use on this thing, and I've used it. So don't panic. I can help you. All right, cracked pistachio. It's a lighter color, so I'm dipping into my ink a little bit. I'm going to rub a little bit off because a lot of ink makes me nervous. Let me remove where I'm shedding right there. Okay, I've got all my little leaves facing the direction that I think they're going to grow. And then I'm going to start rubbing these down the same way with cracked pistachio. And it's going to give us a little bit of that kind of minty green look like I'm doing my mailbox in. So I'm going to kind of tie together. It's going to look super fun and springy. Just like that. You see how I'm chasing this die cut around? Do you see how it loosened up? See, that doesn't bother me. I guess I'm just kind of used to it, and I'll just grab it and stick it back down. And then, of course, when you get inky, or when your mat gets inky, see, I'm going to chase this one around. It's going to get dirty. Let's say, for example, I'm just going to give you a little story time while we're ink blending here. Do you know when you have a sentiment stamp, okay, and you use embossing ink on it? So let's say like a Versamark ink that you use the ink to stick your embossing powder down to your stamped sentiment. You know how if you use that ink on a stamp over and over again, how the stamp, the photopolymer, loses a little bit of its stickiness, and you need to clean it really, really well? Well, this is the same. It's the same exact thing. All this is a huge square stamp. It's just photopolymer that's cut and thicker than our stamps. And so it just gets dirty, just like our stamps do. Okay. You probably have learned way more information than you needed to know about grip mats and photopolymer today. But yes. Okay. Now remember when we cut our little keyhole and our little decorative piece out of white paper? Well, we're gonna color it green. So I'm gonna pop this down up here, and I'm gonna pop this down up here, and I'm gonna do it in the Evergreen Bough, because it's really gonna make it pop off of my mailbox. But let's say you're doing a pink mailbox. You could do your little decorative pieces, and this is where I'm gonna dip into this ink pad. Do you see how I tried it first, and then I want it deep and dark? Oh boy, look at that. This is where you want to test it. Let's say you're doing a pink mailbox. Well, maybe you want to make like hot pink or a darker pink accessories for your mailbox, or you're doing blue and you want to make navy or something right there. So that's why I do this, is because I'm going to dye this to go with all of our little florals and things that we've got here. Now I can pick up all my little leaves. Are you guys ready to put together a mailbox? It's that time. Let's see, what time is it? 2:55. Okay, we're doing really good. We even prepped and everything. Okay, I'm going to dump all my leaves in the leaf thing. Let's see, I'm a newbie. This is all. Oh, good, Anne. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm going to talk your ear off today, Anne. And I'm going to take a drink of my big old cup while I'm looking here. Let's see here. Love the leaves. Yep, I have one in my Misty as well. You are the fastest card maker. I have a lot of practice, Miss Teresa. But you take your time. This video is going to be available for as long as you need it. It will always live on the YouTube channel. So that is a big old cup. It is, I'm hitting the hard stuff today, y'all. It's Diet Dr. Pepper. It's my absolute favorite soda. And it's so good. Diet Dr. Pepper. As I knock down my brushes with my big old cup. I do have a water over here too. It was pretty comical, me coming up to my craft room for this class, and I had a big old cup of water in one hand and a big old Diet Dr. Pepper in the other one. So there we go. Altenew has cleaning instructions. Okay, there you go. Fruits, no fruit salad. No, I'm a diet. Oh, I love Dr. Pepper. Diet Dr. Pepper is my favorite. Every once in a while I can do a real Dr. Pepper. I call it a leaded Dr. Pepper, but I don't do that very often anymore because it's really sweet. But I love it. Okay, let's go back down here. Got my clean desk ready to go. And let's talk about this cutesy little mailbox guy that we have here. Okay, so I'm going to lay all my little pieces out. Okay, so I've got my back piece. That's going to go something like this. And then this.
Will you have a list of the ink colors that you used?
Yes. I'll put a list. Well, I have a list. Yes, I will put them in the description box of this live stream when I'm finished. That will help. I'll put all the supplies in there. But in the little sale link, though, that goes to all the ink colors. And so if you're wanting to try them out, like I said, it might be easy for you to grab like a pink, a blue, one purple, one green, or whatever, and kind of build yourself a little collection. Okay. All right. Let's see here. You should bring the bird up, or is he not happy? I think she's fine. I think my husband just came home, and so she's chatting with him. Okay, so on the front part of this mailbox, I hope we got a thumbs up and we're all ready to go. Did you ink blend the mailbox? No, this is the only thing on this card that is colored cardstock. Mm-hmm. I started with this color, like that minty green color. So it's going to match. See how it's going to match our little leaves and things? Okay, so on the left side of your mailbox door, there is a little score line where you can fold open your door. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can just use your fingers to open it gently, and kind of crack that score line a little bit like this. Or you could take it in like your little score buddy. This is kind of a pain, honestly, to do it this way because you got to try to like line up the little lines. But sometimes that helps as well. And then we kind of want to crack that open a little bit. Let me get rid of this guy. And I'm going to gently kind of fold that back. And we can kind of make sure that that's going to give us a good opening. And this is okay. Do you see how that is going to fold your paper? That's fine because all that's going to be solved when we glue everything together. Okay, the same thing here. So there's a couple of little score lines right up here to the top of your flap. And you can kind of just crack it with your fingertips. Like that, and then give it a little fold like so.
What size bone folder are you using?
Oh, I've got a couple. So the two small ones are, Lisa can put it in the thing. These are our Be Creative bone folders. This is a little one. I've got two little ones, and then this is my most favorite one. Like if you're going to invest in any bone folder, I love this big mama one. Do you see how big this is? It feels so good in your hand because it's big and chunky. It's super nice, and it still has the really nice tips on both ends, but this is the large one. But I just grab, I've got several up there that I just grab a hold of. Okay. All right, let's get to going here. Okay, so a couple of different ways that you can glue this. You can glue it with regular glue. You could use like a red line tape or like a double-sided tape, whatever you want to do. And I've got a little boo-boo right there on my mailbox, but we're gonna make it work. And I'm just going to dot here my liquid adhesive. Come on. And I try to be really careful. I tell this story, but the other day, I've got like nervousness now about glue because I pressed really hard on my glue the other day and it shot across my craft room. And so now I'm not so aggressive. Okay, and then you can just layer on the little part for your door. And I do say to glue it down and then open it back up to make sure it's going to open where you want it. Because if you leave the door open, like I'm going to put a little flower in here later, you are going to have a little bit of a lip right here. Do you see that lip? That's because the door is open. If you attach it to your card base all the way closed, or you're not going to worry about opening it, you can scooch the door over it. And it's just because of that hinge right there.
Let's see here. Does the large bone folder score nicely, or is the tip too fat?
I use it in mine all the time. Like this. Now, if you want it like super down in there, I don't know. I would probably get like this little one. It's super tiny. And it fits down in there. But both of them will work. So really, it's just whichever one you think that you're going to like. The skinny one or the... And I reach for both. I love... You know when you just love something that feels really good in your hands? Like it's like a nice chunky tool. It doesn't feel cheap or something like that. That's that big chunky one to me. Okay. All right. Let's put this little puppy together. All right. Now this little piece. This is adorable. However, I had you cut it so we could put it all together. But when we stuff our flowers inside of our little mailbox, you're not going to be able to see it. But I'm going to, I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to add my little dots here. But we can kind of all build it together so we can see, how it's supposed to go. And then I can dot again. Let's say a substantial bone fold. Yes, it is substantial. I don't know how much it weighs, but I wouldn't want to be like clunked on the head or anything with that one. It's heavy duty. And then again, I'm just going to line this up on the front of that little flap. And this one we can kind of line up and make those little points meet like this. Now this is the point to where if you want to use like a really good double-sided tape, this is the place where I would recommend that. You don't have to, but if there's anywhere on this whole thing that I would use a double-sided tape, it's connecting the front to the back. And I have this really thin one, if I can see with my eyeballs, the end of it. And I'm just going to run a few strips like right over here and tear it, and at the bottom and tear it, and this side. You could use a tape runner too if you've got one of those little tape runners. And then a couple up here. Let's see here. Yeah, maybe unless you're clumsy, score through your card. I'll stick with the bone folder. Sells a small metal stylus. I've heard of people using a metal stylus. I never have. And you can tell, you know, I've had this little score buddy, and it's got that little, it's supposed to have a little thing that goes in here where mine has, as my son says, where it has misappeared to. I don't know. There's no telling, but it's gone. Okay. Now I'm going to start taking off my little backers. And today, this just goes to tell you guys, my son was cutting, and don't gasp when I tell you this, cutting a cardboard box. And my husband looked at me, and my son is 11. And he said, looked at me, looked at my son, and said, "Son, where did you get the scissors to cut that cardboard box?" "Mom's craft room." And I was like, That's why none of my scissors cut. Okay, so I'm going to be really careful lining this part up because I want to make sure that it lines up. And then I can kind of run my fingers around this way. And now we've got our little mailbox. Yeah, this little mailbox is so dang cute. Well, y'all made me feel better. Okay, good, Nicola. I hope. Maybe unless you're clumsy. Oh, I'm so clumsy. You have no idea. Okay, now to help you out, and because we're going to cover this puppy up, if you want to stick this down, you can use your glue or a little bit of the tape. Where did mine go? Here it is. Whatever. If you want to leave it open and just pile the flowers around there, you could do that. I'm going to glue mine down because I tell all my friends all the time I'm the lazy crafter, and I'm going to do whatever makes it easier. So there we go. And then I'm just going to pop that open. Let's see here. I really need to get this Meldox. I put it on my wish list. Perfect. Oh, no. Also, don't ever use good cloth cutting scissors on paper. My mom used to warn us. Oh, I know. Well, and you can hear what my scissors say. Felt only. And I know for a fact that these are the ones that he grabbed for cutting cardboard. But, you know, what do you do? What do you do? I'm going to see if I can't get this little schmutz off right here. Nope. I think it might be a fiber in the paper maybe. Okay. Are you ready to start putting all these fun flowers on here? Okay. So I'm going to start grabbing. We've got pink. We've got the orangey pinks. We've got the purples. We've got all the greens. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to start with my two biggest flowers. And there is a couple of ways we can do this. If you have like a little foam dot to pop it up, you could use, Emily, can you hand me the roll of foam dots right there? The little, yeah. Yeah, that little, not that one, the little ones. Yep, that one in your hand. Perfect. Or you could use the glue, like liquid adhesive, whatever. But something with a little bit of a dimension is going to help you because it's going to allow us to kind of cram things in behind there. And then now in our open little window, I'm going to just kind of, let's put one kind of like right up in there. And let's take this other one. And you'll notice how I kind of get that stuck down. And then I'm giving these petals just a little bit of a bend so that it's not just totally flat. And then this guy, I don't want to put it in the way of my little door. But I'm going to set those in there like that. And then we can just really start building around our little bouquet. All right, so this little guy, I'm going to set out of the way. Let's see here. This one may go with that. This little guy, let's see here. This purple is going to go, they're going to go on here. These two are going to pop up and out. This big pink one, I'm going to tuck him somewhere. Oh, I know where he's going. Okay. I'm just getting the lay of the land here. All right. All right. I'm going to start with, let's start with this little guy. No, let's start with pink. All right. I'm going to crinkle him up. And this one I'm going to glue flat. So I'm going to add just a little bit of liquid adhesive right back in there. And I'm going to tuck him up underneath. And he's going to go right down underneath this little flower, or the big flower, I should say. And I'm going to crinkle up this one. And it is going to go nestle right down in there. It's going to almost stick to the edge of that right flower on the petals. This little guy, I'm going to grab hold. And it's going to act as the center of this big flower. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And no card, and you all I know this because you're pretty experienced crafters, no card is ever going to look the same. Okay, I'm going to give these little guys a little bend up in here, and then he can go flat. And I'm going to tuck this guy kind of right up in here. And I'm going to hold that down and let the glue grab hold. And then kind of when we get our flowers placed around, then we can kind of poke in all of the leaves. All right, this guy, these little tulips. I'm going to cut some of these in half. And then put that one on the back.
What is the diameter of the adhesive dots?
This one is about a half an inch. There are several sizes on the Honeybee Stamps website. This is the half inch. This size, honestly, is my favorite size. It's a half inch, I think, by like a 1/16 of an inch. And you'll notice they've got those little tabs on there. Let me tell you, those tabs will spoil you so fast because then you go to use some other kind of adhesive and you have to pick and pick and pick at it to get like the like this little stuff to get the adhesive off, and the little tabs will spoil you. Okay, so I've got like the starting of our cute little bouquet here. You notice that I'm leaving this little guy out. I'm leaving him out on purpose. Okay, now I'm going to start by taking my really dark green leaves. If I can grab a hold of it. And I'm going to put glue on the dark end of it where it would be like at the stem. And I'm just going to start poking them in anywhere that I want a little pop of that dark green. Okay. And so I can kind of give it a bend. Come on. Here. And let's see. Let's tuck one right up in here. And we can use our tweezers to get back in there, and you're really going to start noticing like everything kind of start coming together. Okay, let's poke a dark green one like right down in there. Let that glue do its thing. Let's poke a dark green one. I'm going to shut the door and I'm going to poke one right back in there. Come on, grab hold. All right, let's see. I couldn't do it flower first. I'd get white on the flowers. White. Oh, here. Yeah, I'm doing that last. You can do you could do it. That's how I did the first one too. Okay, let's see here. This one. I want to take its stem. And then let's poke. Where do we need some dark? Let's poke right down in here. Oh, this is going to be so pretty. I love look at all of our colors coming together. Okay, and let's take this last one. Where do we need the last little bit of dark? Let's see here. How about off the side? And don't be afraid to give your florals a little haircut if they're not tucking in where you want them to. There we go. All right, now I'm going to start on all of my little light green ones and just tucking in and filling where we just need a little something. Let's see here. I added a touch of green leaf, made the middle pop. Oh, awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to start tucking and bending. Don't be afraid to bend, 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 bend. Okay, this one. Just a little bit. I'm going to flip this way and I'm going to hold up these little guys. And I'm going to stick that one right down in there. So cute. And then we can just tuck, tuck, tuck. Tuck until we're all happy. Let's tuck right. I think we need some right up in there. And I like to hold with like one finger and then pull up and kind of give the leaves a little bend so they're not just flat on there. I hope it's okay that I'm just kind of adding in like how I kind of arrange and kind of my thought process to. Okay, so I hold, and then you can use your tweezers or use your fingers. Just kind of give them a little bend. Let's see here. A bit more. It's all coming together, friends. Let's see here. Where do we need a little bit of green? Let's add some right there. Okay. And I've got a couple more. Let's put that one with that guy. I'm going to add these couple of little ones. There we go. And then the last one. And then let's add, let's add one. See if I can poke it down in there. Okay, now our little decorative pieces. So we don't want to forget these. So these are the ones I did in that really deep green. So I'm going to add the dot, dot, dot here. And I'm going to add it to the top. And then I'm not going to add the keyhole yet. Okay. All right. So this is at the point. And I'm not going to bore you with like the whole coloring of this, but I'm going to show you how to do it or how I did it. Okay, so you're going to take whatever white gel pen that you want to use. I like these Uniball Signo Broad white. And then you're going to want to start it off on, here's my scrap paper. You want to start it off and get it going on something else, like not on your project. Okay. And then you're just going to put the tip of your pen into where it's embossed and just trace. If it's a thick line, you can make it a little thicker. You can go around the little flowers and just drag your pen, but it's kind of going to flow right in those embossed areas. Okay, so you can see how we've gotten started here. And if it's not perfect, like look right here, if it's not perfect, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Okay, let's like the post. So you can drag down, and the letters here are really thick. So you can really trace and get that pen tip down in there. Trace around. Okay. And then you just keep working your way around. This is where I would say put on your TV program or a podcast or your favorite crafter or whatever and sit and trace. But in all honesty, this does not take very long to fill it in. And anywhere that you're not happy with, let's say a little tip about like gel pens. Do you see where in this T right here, where it picked up the ink right there? If you'll let it completely dry before, like I'm a fusser, like I would try to go and fuss with that to make it look right. Let it completely dry and then take your gel pen and go back over it and it will fill that in. But it's like when you paint a wall and you go over the paint on the wall before you're supposed to, and it picks up the paint. It's kind of the same principle. Okay. If you want to use colored pencils, that would be easy peasy with like a white colored pencil. I have not tried this with Copic markers, I would be afraid that my markers would bleed on it and I couldn't keep it inside the lines. But this, like a gel pen or something, is pretty easy. And I did the door here. I did this little area down here, which is really easy. And I'm not going to keep you to watch me color all this in. But this little portion down here is really easy. Don't worry about any of this up there because you're not going to see any of that because of your pretty flowers. Okay, and so this one is the finished one. And you'll see two totally different looks on the cards. Okay. And even if you wanted just to do the post and maybe like the little scrolly outline, like that would be adorable too. Okay. Let's see here. Wow, so awesome. So pretty. Okay, my little keyhole. I don't know which way this keyhole is supposed to go. I'm going to put it in that way. And I popped it up on the other card. So let's do that. I've got some of these cut. But you'll notice now how this green, the Evergreen Bough, how it just pops off the front and then everything just kind of blends together. All of our colors and everything. And then we've got this little guy. This little guy, he's going to go in here. And you can do him like flat. And if you don't want to put him in there, you don't have to. He can go up there in the big bouquet. But I'm going to have like a little surprise. Like right there. And then I had an extra leaf. So I'm going to do it something like so. Okay, now if you are keeping your mailbox card as this shape, so this could totally be your finished card. You could be done, right? Because this is the little opening to your card. You write your little hand-done message in there. And honestly, this will fit the mailbox itself. Now, I've gone a little wide here. Will fit in an A2 size envelope, right? Okay. I'm going to add my sentiment, or I'm going to stamp it with you guys. We'll add our pearls last. But this is kind of almost the stopping place, like if you're going to keep it the mailbox shape, if that makes sense. Okay? Yep. And the little postcards, just so you know, the same release, the little postcards, they actually fit down into the little top, so you could have them like the little postcards popping out. But you can grab whatever color of pearls that you like. The spring pearls. I used green on mine, but you could use like a pink, whatever your color scheme is, pretty much. I'm going to use these green because they're laying here on my desk. And we put some pearls in that collection for you, but I just popped these into the center. One, because they're cute. And two, because I mentioned earlier that I'm the lazy crafter, and it's easier for me to add a cutesy little pearl than to have all those little centers from the die set. I'm going to pop that one right there. And let me see if I'm missing anybody. You could even pop one right there. Let's do a little one. Okay. Okay. Let's see. How are you guys doing? We'll make flowers next time I do this. Okay. Honeybee embellishments are my favorite. Thank you. Thank you. I love that card part is already built into the shape with this. Yes, the card part's already, yes, bling it up. That's me. I made an envelope on an A2 card. I didn't have pearls. Oh, perfect. Matching. Perfect. Kelley, is there a stamp for the sentiment? Yes, we're getting to that right now. So I'll quit yakking. Okay, let me go over here. I'm going to set this aside and let's look at our sentiment. Okay. So we put in the little collection the Mailbox Memos sentiment set. Now this has a lot of just great sentiments that you can use on anything. And it's a lot of like kind of our little crafty things like happy mail, you know, consider this a paper hug. Let's see here, just a note, a kindly deliver to, you can make it the whole like mail theme, but I'm just going to pick one. On my original card, I used a happy hello. Let's see, this time I'm going to stamp, and you can just choose whatever. I think I'm going to choose just for you this time. Let's do that one. So let's pull it out. And let me find my die. Just for you. And I think it's that one right there. So I'm going to set that die aside. And then we need our Misty. Now this is where one of those little pieces of paper, remember our scrap paper that we had that I'll hang on to every piece? This is where that is going to come in handy. Okay, so I'm going to stick it down in here like so. And I'm going to put my just for you. Okay, I'm going to set that up. And this I am going to stamp in Evergreen Bough because it's going to tie in with all the little elements on my mailbox, even the little keyhole. So I'm just going to ink Evergreen Bough, set it down, ink, set it down. Probably one more time. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pick this one out. Now, anytime you use Oxide inks, they may stay wet just a hair longer. So I'm going to dry this just for a second. All right, so let's put that away. Let's see. Gretchen Wilson. Bye, Gretchen. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for joining us today. And anybody that has to run off, because I know this is a long time. We've been here an hour and a half. The replay will always be available. I knew that this was going to be long today because we did the prep and everything. Okay, so the just for you. All right, how is everybody doing? Thank you, Gretchen. We'll see you on Monday, my friend. Let's see, they also have a stamp set called Pretty Post that would be great. Yes, use any sentiments that you'd like. It would be adorable. Thank you for doing the prep in the class. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so I got my sentiment. And you can pop it up. I did not do good. See, even I mess it up. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Even I mess up my sentiments and my die cutting all the time. It happens all the time. Especially if you're live. See, if I was doing a video, you guys would never know because I could hide it when I edited it. Okay, I'm just going to pop this on here, but I added my little sentiment, like your little outer card sentiment, like right in there. And that way, you know, you can still have see all your pretty white gel pen here. But let's talk about our card base. Okay, so in that class collection was the Pinstripes and Polka Dots Spring. And there is towards the back, there is a beautiful, like, purpley lavender that is really pretty, especially the dots are like the same color as our purple. So it just kind of ties everything together. So if you got the paper and you want to go ahead and do a big 5x7 card, whoops, we can pull that out. And then you just want to trim this down. And how I did mine was I like there to be like a little bit of like layering on my cards. So instead of cutting it exactly at 5x7, I'm going to cut it a little bit short. So I'm going to cut it at 4 3/4. And you know I'm going to hold on to that by 6 3/4. So we're just going to be able to just peek the white card base. And honestly, it just makes it look a tad bit fancier than what it really is. It's really, you know, easy peasy to do that. But then we can glue down here. So let's do a little dot, dot, dot. Let's see here. I have to look that up. I thought it sounded like electric buzzsaw in the wood shop. Oh, what is it? My dye machine, Emily?
No, the birds.
Oh no, it's Katie. It's Katie Bird. And where is my little dye pick? No telling. Okay, here we go. I'm going to dot, dot, dot. And this is what scares me because I know I'm going to get glue everywhere. Because I squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then it blows out the top. So I know I've got like crafty anxiety. Okay. So I'm going to plop it down and then I like to hold it up. And then I can kind of shimmy it around before that glue sets up and make sure it's all nice and straight. Okay. And then if you want to glue this little guy down, this Emily Cahoot, I just looked him up and he's a beautiful bird. Oh, the sun conure. Yeah. Glue, glue, glue. And then you can kind of give it a little plop. And then again, kind of hold it up to make sure we're all nice and straight. And then press down the backside. And then other than our white gel pen, which takes us a little bit, you guys are all done. You did it. Let's see here. You did it. Love the colors. They're springy. We all need springtime at our house, right? And I told you, it turned out totally different than the first card. They're going to turn out totally different every time. Every time. Looks like this one I may have added more flowers than this one. But now I've got two. Once I finish this little guy, finish the white. Let's see here. Okay. All righty. Let's see here. Oh, I love a Zyron. Let's see. Thanks, Emily. Sounds so pretty. Okay. Love the card. Okay. Does anybody have any like last little bit questions before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday? But I am so thankful that you guys joined us. Let's see. We've had about 240 or so people with us. That's awesome. So awesome. Oh, giveaways. Lisa said we get to do giveaways. Okay, Lisa's going to choose. Lisa, why don't you choose two of our friends? Two of our friends. I'm so glad that you all were here. I hope you'll come and join us for the next class. Fun, fun, fun. Let's do giveaways. I'm going to wait. Lisa's going to, how do the doves compare in size to the mailbox? You might be able to perch a little bird, especially if you put the mailbox like way down here at the base of like a 5x7 card and then use maybe the dove or one of the little spring birds. You could totally do that. The bird that you all saw in the sneak peek the other day would be adorable on top of the mailbox. Thumbs up. Thank you. Okay, has Lisa given me the winner and I missed it? What brand of cardstock did you use? The white is Nina Classic Crest Solar White, and the colored cardstock is Paper Tray Ink. The Lovebirds. Okay.
And Misty.
Okay, Bo and Misty, you are our winners. Congratulations. If the two of you would email me at Kelley, Kelley at honeybeestamps.com, I am going to send you a prize. Friends, we would love to have you come back on Monday. We're going to have another sneak peek to our new release. And then Wednesday night is our release party where we'll share the whole release. We're going to be having giveaways and all that good stuff. It's just a fun time. And a lot of the wonderful people that are here today in the chat, they join us for all of our live streams, and they are the nicest people. And I don't just say that because they're all here with us. I tell Lisa that like every day. Like, we have the nicest people. You really are the nicest group. So thank you all for joining us. I'll be back here on our YouTube channel on Monday with another sneak peek. And then Wednesday night will be party night. Thanks for joining me, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye-bye, friends.